Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome once again to NoDQ&A Video, the official Q&A video series of NoDQ.com. You can submit questions at formspring.me/AaronRift. With that being said, let's get right down to your questions. First one today comes from Tony2Fly. Do you think we could see Shane McMahon in the ring one last time? And I got another question here. Do you think Shane McMahon will be part of the Vince McMahon and Triple H storyline? As far as Shane McMahon getting back in the ring, I don't see it happening on a full-time basis. I think that Shane McMahon is past that part of his life. That is something in the past. If you've seen recent pictures of him in recent months, he's not exactly in tip-top wrestling shape. So I think he's just moved past that. You know, he's got his own projects he's doing separate from WWE, the stuff in China. So I don't see him coming back and getting involved in that capacity. Now, as far as him coming back and making a special appearance, perhaps being part of the Triple H and Vince McMahon storyline, I would not rule that out. I think that there's always a possibility of that Vince could contact him and he could come back and show up and be part of that storyline. You know, something to generate some buzz for the storyline and get people talking, oh, look, Shane McMahon's back. You know, I think that there's always a chance that could happen. But as I said before, as far as him wrestling again, I mean, there's always a possibility he could do it one more time, but I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think that part of his life and career is over. So, you know, maybe we'll see him one more time. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure we'll see him again sometime down the line. If not as part of this storyline with Triple H and Vince, you know, I'm sure one of these days he'll show up for something and make a special appearance. All right, this one comes from KennyMark89. Hey, Aaron, quick question. What's your thoughts on the fan altercation with AJ Styles? Do you think it was a work? Please answer in video. No, I don't think it was a work. You have to keep in mind that these types of altercations happen fairly regularly. You know, if you're a fan, you shouldn't put your hands on the wrestlers. That's the bottom line. And, you know, I know fans try to heckle the wrestlers all the time and whatnot, but unless the guy touches you when you haven't done anything, I mean, you really shouldn't be touching the performers at all. And, you know, I don't think that it was some sort of publicity stunt by TNA. If it was, I mean, people have already forgotten about it, so then it didn't work if it was. But, you know, I don't think it's a good idea to make a storyline out of a wrestler and a fan having an interaction, because it just encourages the fans to do more of that rowdy behavior. So in general, you know, it's just not a good idea, and I don't think TNA would go that far to try to generate some publicity or get people talking about the AJ Styles character or the storyline or whatever. All right, this one comes from LimaHead7. Hey Aaron, what did you think of Lance Storm's run in WCW with three belts at once, and do you think WWE could have used him better? Great videos, by the way. Cheers from Ireland. Thank you for that. I really liked Lance Storm's run in WCW. It was one of the few highlights I thought of that period in WCW. I mean, there really were no highlights besides Lance Storm. It was the one thing that that was really entertaining on the show. You know, they brought in Lance Storm, and they were pushing him right from the get-go, and he won one title after another. And he was gaining a lot of momentum. He actually had a match with Booker T for the WCW title, and, you know, the fans in attendance actually thought Lance Storm could beat Booker T and win the title. I mean, that was a tremendous match. Probably the best WCW match of that entire year, that Booker T versus Lance Storm title match. It was like August 2000. That was a tremendous match. Unfortunately, after that, you know, Lance Storm lost, and his push kind of stopped at that point. But I think he could have done really well in WWE. I mean, he wasn't, you know, the typical guy that WWE likes to push, and they really killed his character dead when they started doing the boring gimmick. I mean, that was basically a death sentence for his character. But yeah, WWE definitely could have utilized him better. He was getting over in WCW, and you know, in WWE, I think that they could have done a lot with him if they had pushed him hard. And it just goes to show, you push a guy hard who has talent, you know, he will get over with the fans. This one comes from ClarkyBoy123. Do you think it was too soon for WWE to give Curtis Axel the IC championship, or do you think it is the perfect time to give him the title? I think now's the time to give him the title. I think that you should put the title on somebody that you're pushing towards the top. You know, he hasn't been around that long since his comeback, but I don't see a problem with giving him the title. Now, the problem I have is that you give him the title and then you job him out on television and he starts losing every match. And that seems to be a pattern in WWE where a guy wins a championship and then WWE's philosophy is that once they have the title, they can do jobs and, you know, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. And I think that that's a bad idea. I think that if a guy wins a title, he should continue winning matches as champion and be a successful champion. So I'm all for Curtis Axel getting the IC title if he's actually going to win some matches as champion. If he's going to win the title and then just do a bunch of jobs as champion, then I don't see the point. So that's my thoughts on it. I think the most important thing is to give Curtis Axel some credible wins. I don't know if the perfect count out is going to cut it. I think he actually needs to beat some people. I mean, look at the Shield. WWE's done a tremendous job building up the Shield by actually having them win matches. And, you know, they won the titles, but now they're starting to do jobs as champions, which is that booking philosophy that WWE has. So as long as Curtis Axel's winning matches, you know, I'm really fine with whatever they do with him, or, you know, it doesn't really matter. I would like to see the titles protected and the champions actually win title defenses. All right, this one comes from 310 Lake Show. Great show, Aaron. Thank you for that. Quick question. What did you think of the Shane McMahon versus Kane feud in 2003? I think this is actually Lost in the Shuffle as one of the best rivalries of all time. Your opinion, PAIV. Are you talking about the feud where Kane electrocuted Shane McMahon's balls? You know, that was an interesting feud. I mean, let's put it that way. You had some memorable moments, I guess you could say. You know, it all started when Kane gave Linda McMahon the tombstone pile driver on the stage, and I was actually there in attendance for that Raw at Staples Center. So that was kind of a cool moment, although Linda McMahon was nowhere near close to hitting the stage, so it was kind of lame. But, you know, obviously he's got to protect her and not take any risks. But, you know, it was an interesting feud, and the SummerSlam match was okay. The thing I remember most from that match was Kane slipping on the top rope, trying to jump to the outside on Shane. The Survivor Series match, I think that was an ambulance match. I mean, that was a good match from what I recall. And, you know, the stuff like the electrocuting Shane's balls, and I think there was one thing like a dump truck where they got set on fire or something. So, I mean, there were some cool moments in that feud. I mean, no doubt about it. Maybe it's one that is overlooked. All right, this one comes from King Kaiser SW. What are your thoughts on Mike Awesome? I left the WWE drop the ball on him as he was the typical big man that Vince loves and was able to do springboards, suicide dives, and other moves usually done by cruiserweights. Suicide dives, eh? I'm a little surprised that WWE didn't push him harder. I think that he had somewhat of a bad reputation in the backstage area because of how he left ECW and went to WCW with the ECW title. I think that you know, there was some heat on him, but you know, he is the type of guy that Vince likes. He's a big guy. He was a big guy, and you know, he did a lot of high flying moves. He was very agile for somebody his size. I really don't know why they didn't push him harder. I think he got injured at one point, and you know, same thing with Chris Kanyon. You know, there were so many guys on the roster at that time that it was very easy to get lost in the shuffle. And if you got any kind of injury, you know, guys would try to work through the injuries and not take time off, because taking time off could hurt your chances of getting a spot on the roster when you come back, just because there's so many guys and so many spots, and there's too many people. So that could have been the situation where you know, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. If he'd come to WWE when the roster was thinner, maybe he would have had a better chance of breaking out and reaching the top in WWE. And it certainly would have been a possibility with his size and his ability. All right, this one comes from Crusade01. After watching Goldberg accidentally spearing Stone Cold on the February 9th, 2004 Raw, were there ever plans to have a Stone Cold versus Goldberg match? If Goldberg stayed, how close do you think we would have seen this match? To my knowledge, there was never any serious plans of doing this match. I think if Goldberg had come into WWE in 2001 during the Invasion storyline, I think there was a good chance we would have seen that match. But I think by 2003, Steve Austin had already made it clear that he was done, and you know, the chances of Goldberg and Austin were slim to none. If Austin was open to doing a match, I think we would have seen it at WrestleMania 20. The fact that we didn't see that match, you know, I think Austin was mentally and physically done. He was not going to wrestle anymore, even if he had an opponent like Goldberg. I mean, that's how decisive he was in his decision to step away. So I don't think that there were any chances of that match happening, and you know, that whole thing with Goldberg spearing him was just build up to set up the Lesnar and Goldberg match with Austin as the referee, and you know, who would he go on one person's side, or what would happen there? So I mean, that's really all that was about. All right, that'll do it for this edition No DQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com this weekend for live coverage of WWE Payback, all the latest news and rumors and possible spoilers. NoDQ.com is your place for everything regarding Payback, and I will see you next time for more No DQ&A video.